Welcome to spoiler time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to spoil all the things. Nicole, are you sticking around to spoil with us?
Sure. Or what are we talking about?
Well, we're going to talk about Archer season 4.
Bob's Burgers for you.
Actually, that's fine. I'll be spoiled on it. I've only seen the first season of Bob's Burgers because it was free on Netflix, and I keep talking about like, oh, I should watch or I should try, but it's like I suddenly realized I'm never going to bother to turn on for appointment viewing. And I guess once you're saving $100 a month, you could justify just dropping $60 on all the episodes on Amazon Instant, which is probably what I'll do.
Bob's Burgers is so awesome. I would buy the physical DVDs.
What?
Yes.
Not me, man. I'm
great.
done with it. I've gone post-physical. I can't handle it.
Don't you ever? But do you take physical and then rip them and then you have them in your library?
That sounds like work. I ain't gonna pay. I'm gonna pay extra money for work. I just want to see it and get it in my memories.
Put them in your collection. You know.
Oh, a collection. You just said the word collection, and I had chills. I was like, ugh. Collection is like, I just think hoarders.
I kind of am a hoarder, I guess.
Your dead cats and your jars of urine.
My friends used to call Mark and Nicole Busters. We had so many DVDs before we digitized a lot of them.
So it occurs to me that some people may very much not want to know the secret sauce that I heard about Archer season 5.
Well, let's
so
lay
we'll
out what we're going to tell people about. We're going to talk about the second episode of the current series of Sherlock. We're going to talk about Archer season 4, which Brian just finished. Have you watched Archer season 4, Nicole?
Oh, yeah. I watched it live.
So we can all hang on those. And then Brian's going to give us some sneak peeks at season 5 that he heard about at the Archer Live.
Yeah. So let's do Sherlock first. First of all, second episode was, and you've seen the third episode as well, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have not. I meant to try to see both, but I only had time to see one. This episode was much better than the first episode of series 3. As I think last week I had mentioned that it was just way too much on the cutesy stuff. And they did something pacing wise that I thought was way better. They still had those adorable moments of awkward impersonality, but they blended it by jumping forward and backwards to the staging of this wedding with all of its social awkwardness, but you snapped to genuine mysteries, and the fact that they set up independent mysteries that seemed to not have anything to do with each other, and then it all fused together back at the end, and it came back nicely. I thought that was fantastic.
I agree. I thought that this was probably the best episode, maybe of the entire run. Because it was tight, it kept me guessing, and the same as you. Like at the beginning, I'm like, oh, so we're just going to be spending a lot of time farting around at the wedding and stuff, Like, what's the case going to be? And then that was that was the big reveal. Like that was the beautiful thing about it, is it ends up revealing that the whole time you've been working on the case and you didn't even know it.
There are two reasons that this cannot possibly be the best one in the series. One is, and I'm sure this is like accurate to the book, which is why they did it. Something tells me that once you wear a belt, you don't become unable to feel yourself being stabbed. Like that, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think it's believable as a thing.
Well, I think what I do believe is that the thing being thin enough that you couldn't feel it. That is definitely a thing. You can be stabbed by something and it's thin enough that you wouldn't feel it. And then I thought the idea was that it was then lodged in the belt, so that when you take your belt off, it actually allows the fluids to come out and you start bleeding. Whereas before, the belt was sort of acting as a bandage, if you will.
Well, but the problem with that was like the whole conceit with the guy in the shower was that they couldn't find the blade, they couldn't find the weapon.
Because the stabber takes the blade back.
Right. Okay. Well then,
so you can stab someone so they don't feel it, and then the belt is keeping the thing from bleeding.
I think what you're describing is the reason we get stitches, is to keep a wound closed so it will heal. Like that's why. And again, not a doctor. But from the believability side, that really stuck out to me and was a bit of an eye roller. But again, that's neither here nor there. Some doctor might be all like, no, this is totally how we love to kill people all the time. I'm an evil doctor. The other reason was,
that's true.
In almost every scene, they dipped in the well just one time too many. Almost every scene was exactly 15 seconds too long. Watson and Holmes are drinking. That's adorable. They go to a third pub. Oh, that's amazing. And then it's like, then it just lingers there for 10 seconds more where nothing really happens. Especially
that didn't happen to me.
You especially saw it when he goes to the dead guy's apartment and he's trying to do his job while drunk, and it was really, really good. And then it was kind of done, and then they just let it go 6 seconds longer. And you saw it as well with the dancing at the end. And I don't know. I felt like they just milked stuff just a little too long, so the whole thing felt fatty to me, and I felt bad every time. I was like, all right, come on, I
didn't get that at all. I thought it was tight. I thought it worked really well.
Interesting. All right.
I don't have anything to add because I'm not watching Sherlock.
Yeah,
we're just spoiling the crap out of you right now.
Actually, you didn't spoil it because I have no idea what you're talking about. I know somebody gets stabbed that doesn't know they're getting stabbed.
I will highly, highly recommend that you check out episode 1. Like, you're going to be either in or out from the very first episode. Give that a try. It's worth it.
Comparing it to Elementary.
I haven't seen Elementary, but I know that it kicks Elementary's ass.
Okay.
Because
I have seen one episode of Elementary, and so that's really not a fair comparison. But I feel like Sherlock is just much more intricate. It's much more about being a puzzle, whereas Elementary has the kind of the fun, witty banter aspects of Sherlock down. But it's not, and it is a puzzle as well. I mean, they're both mystery stories, obviously.
Right.
But I just don't feel like it's quite on exactly that same level as Sherlock.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and A Study in Pink is the name of the very first episode.
I will watch it.
Anything else you want to say about this one, Tom?
I really loved it. Both Eileen and I finished it and looked at each other and went, that was awesome. I kept me guessing. There was lots of stuff that we didn't expect that happened. I was wondering about Janine and what was going to happen with her, and then the fact that he did not end up going home with her, I thought was good. Because I liked the tease, but I like keeping Sherlock alone. I think he's going to be a much better character when he's truly alone. And I don't know. I am left definitely not caring much about the guy with the eyeglasses from the end of the first episode, but definitely curious about why liar came up in Sherlock's field of vision when he looked at Mary.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. I missed that.
I didn't pick it up watching it. I picked it up when I was looking at blogs afterwards.
Very cool. And somebody else had pointed it out, or
somebody was like, "Why is liar in here?" And I'm like, "Why is liar in there?"
That's interesting. And I guess one other thing is we got one email from somebody who asked a question. I thought it was an interesting question because obviously we've flatly stated that we are a show about people who want to cut the cords and legally get all the mark. We're very aware that there exists a giant black market and you could steal whatever you want. We're not down with that, and we don't support it. But we both watched this using like virtual private network to watch it from the BBC, which is I guess to break it down, it's definitely legally gray, and you could make a case that it's ethically gray. And somebody asked, like, well, does this belong on Cord Killers? I mean, because I thought that was an interesting question, and I guess really the answer is I don't know. And I defer to the audience. What do you guys think?
Because we actually want to keep things really straight. Using a VPN is not illegal. It's like torrents. Torrents are not illegal. Using a VPN just protects your bits on the network so people can't see them. However, when that happens, a side effect is they can't tell your regions, and that can sometimes give you access to things that would otherwise be region blocked. So is taking advantage of that side effect is that a bad thing or not? The legal questions come into, I'm watching something and I'm not paying the fee, for instance, with the BBC, the licensing fee, or I'm not watching commercials that are really targeted towards me, so it's a waste of commercial times that's being charged for it, things like that. So we want to keep this really straightforward. Let us know, cordkillers@gmail.com, if you think, you know what, let's just steer away from VPNs, or if you think, well, until that region locking has a better way of doing it, then this is just the internet being the internet.
Although I will say that Tom proposed on the phone a very simple ethical shortcut. Is if you're worried that you're not doing the right thing, just throw some money to PBS, because
that's what I'm going to do.
Then you're doing the right thing no matter what.
Because Sherlock, and I'm not watching Downton Abbey this way, but Downton Abbey could have been watched this way. Both of them are coming to PBS. If you want to support PBS, you donate. You give money. In fact, I might even say, don't even send me a mug or a T-shirt. Just, this is me making it good.
I'm not even giving you my address. You take this money. Don't worry. I've gotten my
drop
reward.
it by their office anonymously.
You know, it's interesting because now that we have PBS over the air, we get more shows on the over the air PBS than we did on DirecTV PBS.
Wow.
So there were some barbecue shows that Mark couldn't get on PBS on DirecTV, but now he has them.
Is that because it's a different channel?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well,
it's probably because it's those alternate channels. Because when you go over the air, you get like 6 PBSs instead of just the one.
Right.
Interesting.
So that's cool.
It's nicer. Yeah, we have more TV now.
Man. So let's talk some Archer.
You finally caught up. You're in the present. I'm so happy, Brian. I know how you felt when it's not quite The Wire, but I know kind of that same idea.
Well, I'll tell you, and I'm sorry it took so long, but it's that making the leap from the free ecosystem or the prepaid ecosystem of Netflix, where you're just in a magical land and it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, and then you always have to think do I want to spend the money? And finally, what did it was finding out that oh man, I'm going to do Archer Live January 11th. I guess I have to, and I clicked buy, and I'm glad I did. And in fact, I think that experience is gonna cause me to just buy a lot more stuff. I think it will buy all of Bob's Burgers and stuff.
It's an incestuous relationship between Bob's Burgers and Archer because those last 2 episodes, I don't know if you noticed, had the voices of Gene on Bob's Burgers and
Christian Shaw, the kid. Gene
Louise.
Did Gene play the brother?
Yes.
That Cheryl Carroll hated? That's brilliant. I didn't notice that at all. I totally missed that. And I loved I would say that the opening bit, if you're familiar with Bob's Burgers, the opening bit from the first episode of season 4 may be one of my favorite moments in all of comedy, certainly animated comedy, and certainly in the history of that team, going all the way back to their stuff with C Lab 2021. Oh, and did you guys catch that at the bottom of the sea, in the C Lab, was a guy named Captain Murphy? Did you guys get that at all?
I don't remember whether I got that or not. I don't think I did.
All right. Well, these guys, before there was Archer, there was Frisky Dingo, and before there was Frisky Dingo, there was C Lab 2021.
Ah, okay.
And where the guy who ran it was a guy named Captain Murphy.
I didn't catch that.
And, and in fact, it sounded to me, and I would love to know if it was deliberate. The guy who played Captain Murphy in C Lab 2021 passed away, unfortunately, and so they killed off his character on this show. It sounded to me like they were doing a bit of an homage to that guy's voice or trying to get close to it. I would wonder, maybe I'm reading too much into it and that's not what happened or not. But I thought that was really cool.
I can't wait to watch Archer. That's actually another although Archer you can pay for the day after, I think. I don't think they hold it up.
I hope so, because I'm going to be upset if I can't.
Yeah. It's not like HBO where they make you wait a year. It's most every other show you can at least pay them money to get it the next day. HBO is just weird.
Yeah, man. The let's see, what were some of the other episodes?
What do you think about the big thing?
Well, I actually thought that was pretty good. I wanted it to be better than it was, so I was kind of cheering for it. And a few other my friends were like, I was disappointed by it. But I thought Bourdain's part was great.
Oh, Bourdain. Oh, yeah. No, and actually, I'm somebody who only knows Anthony Bourdain by reputation. I've never watched any of his shows, but the fact that he committed and went all in, I thought was pretty good. Like, clearly, this is a guy who was down with whatever, and
he decided to be Ramsey Gordon.
Yes,
for that episode, it was Bourdain playing Kitchen Nightmares.
Gordon Ramsay. Wait,
Gordon Ramsay. I'm like, who?
Yeah,
one of those two.
What's funny is I felt that was a very delicate correction because I am so far out from being a foodie that I think he's saying that backwards, but I don't want to correct to be wrong.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode. That was a really fun episode.
Going senile, Byron.
That's all right. Yeah, man. Any other highlights on that season?
What'd you think of the last episode, the big reveal?
Oh, about
Lana.
Lana being pregnant.
Yeah.
I did manage to figure it out halfway through, but although they weren't exactly subtle,
No, I mean, they were leaving clues all over the place, weren't they?
I thought it was I was like, oh, good, they're setting a little something up for next season, but not at all. Like, that is a nothing reveal compared to the actual big reveal for what they're doing on season 5. Have you guys heard about this?
Yes, I saw the article that you put in the show notes here, and I have to say, very excited.
Yeah.
They've been hinting about this with all of the teaser trailers. So you always hear Danger Zone and different. So
yeah.
they're
Well,
kinda,
okay. So here's the thing: is they and literally the headline says they decided to nuke the entire conceit of the show because the author got bored. I believe Adam Reed is the guy who writes all the episodes. He just couldn't figure out a way to make it fresh for him anymore, and so they tried something totally drastic. What happens is, and this is all the stuff they talked about in the Archer Live event. So I don't think I'm spoiling anything. Well, I guess I'm spoiling it if you care. But the thing, the FBI figures out that ISIS is actually not technically a government sanctioned spy agency, which means that they're just guys, just assholes running around with guns, blowing stuff up. So they do an operation to shut down ISIS, and the way they do it is, and they played the opening clip of season 5. It opens, and again, this is major spoil. I'm ruining it for you, basically. You're going to hear me describe it for you, but you'll know first. It starts off with like a song and a dance, like a Swan Lake thing. He comes in, and everything is perfect. He's got roses he's giving out to people. There's some nonverbal byplay between them, and then the last thing he does is hand the roses over to his mom. And the moment she grabs one, like the entire floor of the building, external shot, explosion, and it just lingers on the massive destruction and smoke for like 10, 20 full seconds. Does the opening credit sequence, and then they find out, and apparently what they're doing is like, well, we're not a spy agency. What are we? And they're like, well, we've got guns, we got connections, and we've got cocaine. And so at that point, like I believe the first episode is the only time you'll see the classic opening sequence. And after that, it's all Archer Vice, 1980s, running coke. And
awesome.
they were talking about how, Pam does so much cocaine and there's all this cocaine fueled humor, and it gets super outrageous. To be honest, I'm totally down with it. I mean, it's the characters we care about. We don't care about what the MacGuffins are.
Well, and it's because the authors were getting bored, right? The people who write this show were like, we're kind of tired of this conceit, but the show's popular and we love the characters. This is the perfect thing to do. Blow it up. Try something new. I hope it works, because I think you're right. I love the characters. As long as the characters are still being the characters, this could be hilarious.
Well, and they're still going to be in the same kind of situations,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
It's like literally all they're doing is, and to be honest, I think that, I mean, it's not a stretch to say almost certainly this move was inspired by Grand Theft Auto's success in moving from what was a hard-hitting modern-day crime story to a cartoonishly 1980s, Vice City that they did, and they saw that it worked and continued to work. Then they did it again going to the 90s in San Andreas, because Archer, you'll notice one of the questions at the live Q&A was exactly when is this story set? Because there's some things that are clearly, the computers are clearly from the 1960s. Some of the cars are clearly from the 80s. Some of the, and then all of a sudden you got a Dodge Challenger very specifically promoted in there. And the answer was, we just take whatever we want from whenever we want and throw it in there. That's not a concern.
And I bet you Archer wakes up at the end of the season.
No way. Stupor. No, they'll stick to it, because we've already seen they have it. They get away with, like, look at Ray Gillette, the way he Gillette. Wait, Ray. Why do I want to say Ray? Is his name Ray or Gillette?
Huh?
The gay guy.
Oh, yeah, I think his name is Ray, isn't it?
Why do I want to say Gillette?
I don't know, but that's the character
Gillette.
that's modeled after.
Oh, it is.
Yates.
So it is right. Okay, good. I couldn't. I had two conflicting memories, right? But like, he very clearly got crippled, and then very clearly did not get crippled, because it turns out he's faking. Then he very clearly got crippled for reals, and then very clearly got uncrippled because bionics legs, and now he's very clearly back to being crippled again. So it's I'm not worried about them having to write a way out of it, but I don't know. I'm nothing but thrilled and excited. And I can't wait. I'm gonna have to buy it tomorrow.
I hope they bring in some of the side characters, so like Pam and Dr. Krieger. So
as a matter of fact,
they're using them more and more, and I think they're getting more and more popular.
at the live show, the first 5 minutes was all Lucky Yates doing a stand-up warm-up routine, and he did a great job of energizing the crowd. And he set up kind of a cool narrative where he talks about like they did a whole thing about everyone's catchphrase, and he was like, I don't have a catchphrase, and he also points out, like, you notice my name's not the credits? Pretty sure I'm the only one whose name's not in the credits or whatever. and then he made a video with everyone cheering for Dr. Krieger, and he emailed it off to the president allegedly. And then there's this big moment where when you watch the opening for season 5 and it does all the characters, and then when his name Lucky Yates pops up, the entire crowd goes like, "Oh, your dreams came true!" So I agree. I think they're doing a good job of fleshing out a lot of the secondary and tertiary characters.
Yeah, we actually have Dr. Krieger's cleaning sign in Mark's shop, the Clean or Die.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you can actually get it on FX's website.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Big fans.
Yeah, man, I don't know what else to say. Just very excited about that. Is there anything else left to spoil, man?
I don't think so. Next spoiler time, we will probably talk another Sherlock thing. Maybe we should put the Sherlock at the end, since fewer people can get access to it. I noticed a lot of people with their hands over their ears in the chat room earlier. But I'm committed to watching The Shield. I will watch an episode of The Shield.
Just one?
Well, I guess I'll commit to one, and if I can watch more, I will.
Okay. Okay.
Are you guys watching American Horror Story?
You
No.
know, I heard such good things about the first season that I almost dove in, but then I heard like mixed things about the second season, and then I didn't dive in.
Okay, I'm going to give you advice because the second season is now streaming on Netflix. The first season you must watch. It is amazing.
They're both streaming on Netflix, or just the
They're
second?
both 1 and 2
Okay.
are streaming. Coven is the one that's playing right now. So I'm actually buying per episode right now because I watched the first half on DirecTV. But season 2 is uncomfortable. But if you power through like the first 8 episodes, it's a really amazing story because it's in an insane asylum.
Right.
So
Okay.
the first story is about a haunted house. The second story is about a sane asylum, and then the third season is about a coven of witches, which the third season is right up there with the first season, and the second season I'm warming up to as I'm plowing through the episodes on Netflix.
Awesome.
So you should definitely check it out.
Well, then I will. And by the way, on the Shield thing, Tom, it's like I only want you to dive in if the spirit takes you and you get sucked in, because once you will, I think you'll get all the way through.
I want to give it enough chance, you know?
Yeah. A couple more episodes, I think you'll be there. I hope.
All right.
But it is the kind of thing like once you get in there and you see this noose tightening. I mean, it's again, Breaking Bad owes a very big spiritual debt to the Shield.
The third episode, I started to see the depth. Right. The first episode felt very procedural, with a little more interesting. But by the third episode, I started to see in the corners a little more. I'm like, oh, okay, there's some stuff going on there that I think is going to become more important. So I definitely want to give it a big chance. I just got sidetracked in December with a bunch of stuff, so I want to get back to it.
Yeah, I would imagine you were busy. It was a crazy time.
Had some stuff.
It was the 2013. You should have been there.
2013.
Man, dude,
Glad it's
that's
over.
it again for spoiling. It's spoiling time. What about that?
Yeah, it's spoiling time, which if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can get the download faster. It's one of the perks. We're trying to come up with lots of perks for the folks that support the show, but the biggest perk is that we actually do the show. And then it will go up midweek for folks who don't pay, because we don't want a paywall. We just want to give the Patreon folks a little something, something.
Yeah.
Something.
Bye.
Bye.